Welcome back. You're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidiri. It's time for hashtag Salam Media Sports. And yeah, it's going to be a big one later tonight. All eyes will be on Bloemfontein as the Free State Stadium hosts one of the biggest and most anticipated fixtures on the African continent. Bafana Bafana will be playing the Super Eagles of Nigeria. It's a 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier that could decide the fate of Group C. We could ultimately see South Africa, Bafana Bafana, going to the World Cup in the United States next year, or the Super Eagles, the giants of Africa, as they so often proclaim, again missing out. Bafana Bafana lead the standings with 16 points after a confident 3-0 victory over Lesotho last week Friday. And Nigeria are under a lot of pressure. They sit third on 10 points, trailing Benin by just one and only win in Bloom by just one win. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Bafana Bafana take this one. The coach, Hugo Bros, seems to be confident, but there's a lot that was being said about the pitch and how it looks. But yeah, Nigeria has been a difficult opponent for South Africa through the years, but we've seen an improvement from Bafana Bafana since Hugo Bros is at the helm. And yeah, it'll be interesting how today's game kind of pans out. As I mentioned, it's the biggest game on the continent. All eyes will be in Free State later this evening. And we want to break it down for you before it all kicks off, the calm before the storm. And we'll be doing that with a very good friend of the station, football analyst Mpho Mutloane. Mpho, how's it? Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you're excited. We're all waiting with bated breath for 6 this evening. It might be a cracker. It looks, and I think it's poised to be one of those games that you remember for the rest of your life.
I think it'll end up being a draw. That's all I want.
Come on! Not after that build-up, Mpho. Come on!
I've been grappling with this because everyone's been saying biggest match. No, it's not. You're 6 points ahead of Nigeria. 6. Don't go for the win. Just take the point. You need 3 points to guarantee yourself a second shot at this World Cup in the second round, right? If you get 4, you're home. The great thing I'd like is to send them home tonight. Then make sure Nigeria watches this World Cup at home. But we got to be pragmatic as South Africa. The thing is, shut the back door, and make sure that you do not lose this game. Whatever you do not lose this game. You can't bring them in. And Nigeria is wanting to come back. But even if Nigeria do beat us, they're still 3 points away. And you need 4 points in the last 2 games. You've got Rwanda at home. You've got Zimbabwe at home. You can clean it out there. There's no pressure on you. There's no drama. It's just a simple walk at home. If you get a draw from the next 3 games, you're at the World Cup. It's that simple. It's all it is. Yes, it's Nigeria, and I don't want everyone to live up to the hype. It's a great team. 2 great teams playing each other. Nigeria wants to be like us, but we're sending them home today. But the thing is, let's not overhype this game and make it something bigger than it is. We've done the job. You know, this World Cup qualifier is not just this set of 2 games. We've played 7 games, and we've made sure we've put ourselves in a great position. It's a situation of managing it all the way home. And if you can do it tonight and win it tonight, perfect. I'm not asking for aggressive football. I'm asking for conservative football. Let's get home. Let's get the point, and let's walk away. Because if you started
I see what you're trying to do here. You know, you know that hyping it up and making it seem like it's this grand fixture might give Nigeria a bit of confidence. You know, it might give them that gears to try and, you know, attack South Africa and make it a competitive game. But if you like, you know, as you say, play conservative football, sit back when you have to, attack when you have to, make it a stop-start, boring, midweek game, you ultimately, push off Nigeria quite easily. I want to focus on Nigeria now. I think you mentioned something that they want to be like us. It seems and it feels like on the African continent, especially, football has changed. You know, there's this transition where the countries that you normally consider the big dogs of the continent, I look at Ghana and how they're playing. I'm looking at Mali, for instance, Cameroon, for instance. they're not doing that well, and you have like a re-emergence of countries like South Africa, Morocco, who I think historically, let's be honest, have not been the best of the best until the current generation that they have right now. Let's focus on Nigeria. They have some of the biggest names on the African continent. Two African best players, Osman, Lukman. Osman, unfortunately or fortunately, if you're South African, now out back in Turkey for
Mm.
Galatasaray. What's behind this downfall from a Nigerian point of view? You know, online, a lot of things have been said about maybe not them have not having a synergy. These are players that are scattered all over Europe, and it's just a short space of time for international football to get them to gel and to play football. While at South Africa, you have PSL players, they play each other Monday to Monday. They know each other quite well, and maybe that's why we're a bit more fluid than they are.
I would disagree.
All right.
Yeah, look, I agree on the synergy part, the cohesion. But the problem with Nigeria is that if you look at the squads they keep on picking, it keeps on changing. So every FIFA window, there's always a couple of new faces in the team. Whereas what Hugo Bruce has said was he picked a core team that's going to take us to America, and he's put youngsters in and around. And if you're not new to the Bafana setup, he's not going to pick you. He's going to give you a chance in a Chan or in a friendly game, but he's not going to pick you for the World Cup qualifiers because he had his core 15 guys who he knew were going to take him there. Nigeria's, on the other hand, change of coaches just before that World Cup, after the AFCON that they have. So in the middle of the World Cup campaign, we had a change of coaches. And then on top of that, obviously a little bit of change. Like Toby Arokodare is new, right, to the setup. There are a lot of people, like if you look at that team, you're like, wait, what happened to William Troost-Ekong? What's going on? And to a certain extent, that's where I think the cohesion comes. The other problem is they lose games that they're not supposed to be losing. Lesotho held them away from her, right? It's not us. It's like you, the World Cup. So the way you qualify for World Cups and AFCONs, right? You don't lose away from home. You make sure you get a draw, and you make sure that you win at home. That's been the formula that Hugo Bruce has employed for AFCON qualifier to World Cup qualifier, and Nigeria do the opposite. They got held by Lesotho at home. They got surprised by Zimbabwe away from home, and there's nothing that you can do there. And then you lose to Benin, right? And Benin's a very tough opponent. But look at South Africa. South Africa have managed, without the international players who play overseas, and maybe you can say the PSL players play week in and week out. The one thing is the Mamelodi Sundowns effect of it all, right? Mamelodi Sundowns players are playing in global competitions and CAF competitions month in, month out, and the core of the team that comes from Sundowns. And that helps. That really, really does help. But now we've got a team where we've got lots of new players who've been in the squad that are no longer Sundowns players or no longer in the PSL and are outside. And you saw what happened against Lesotho. We played our best game. Lal Foster is playing well. Mohamed Kota coming back from Saudi Arabia, doing what he did. And so my thing is, it's the man, the coach, but it's also this period where, you're able to pick a core of players that you know that you're going to take week in, week out. Some people are always mad that Nico Mobi starts. The reason why Nico Mobi starts, he was there in the beginning, right? He may be playing for Sewelele, but he was there in the beginning, and he gave the coach what he wanted, and the coach liked him. Was like, he's going to come in. Khuliso Mudau, same thing. He, even if he wasn't playing for Sundowns, Khuliso Mudau was going to start. Same thing with Mshishi. Themba Zwane wasn't the flavor of the month of Sundowns, but he was still playing for Bafana. And so that's the whereas other teams go for 4. Hugo Bruce goes for, do you know my system? He's more leaning into the whole synergy, the cohesion, rather than necessarily who's on form now. Your form players will come in, there'll be subs, if there's an injury here and there, you'll bring people in, but the core of this Bafana squad remains intact. To the point where you can introduce a 19-year-old centre back and he does an incredible job.
And I was about to focus on that, the introduction of these younger players, being confident in them, especially Mbogazi, for instance. You never, or let me say you never in world football see such an important position as a center back given to a teenager. You always expect a well-seasoned, probably captain, someone that has, I don't know how many caps under his belt, to be the one that is marshalling your defense. Against Nigeria, against those kind of players, I don't think he's been, he's been brilliant. Take nothing away from Mbogazi. Has he been challenged enough, for us to confidently say we can see him making part of a center pairing with probably Engezana, who's a bit more experienced, plays on the highest level in Romania, if I'm not mistaken? Or does he sit this one out, and we probably see who else we can I
Like
don't
a
know.
Grand Kekan.
Yeah, Grant Kaikana, for instance, well
Yeah.
seasoned, played on the African continent. He's earned his stripes.
Look, I wouldn't be surprised if Granke kind of starts today. I think what Hugo Bruce was going for to give him Bogazi a chance against Lesotho was the ability that he has from the back to distribute the ball. He's been one of the best centre backs since the start of the season, and he's earned his way into that team. I like his size, I like his physique, and I would love to see him actually start next to Ngezana against Thingy. But I wouldn't mind seeing Kekana and Ngezana or that type of a pairing, an experienced pairing that understands how to play. The issue obviously was Kekana's form has dipped a bit since the middle of last season, so that was the other issue that you have. But look, I don't mind him going for the tried and tested. I think for me, because it's not a must-win game, you wanna put people in positions to succeed, and this may not be a position for Mbogazi to succeed right now, unless if you put him around seasoned pros, right? So you got Kuliso on the right. You've got Ngezana with him in the middle. You've got Tebogo Mokoena in front of him, and you've also got Ronwen Williams behind him, right? So he'll be perfect, but he's also great with marking, right? You want him to be able to mark Arokodare there, to just make sure that he doesn't cause any problems. But Grant Kekana can do the job, and I think go with Grant, because what Hugo's said all this time is he's got his core. His core's going to the World Cup, and that core's going to take him to the World Cup. It's time for the core to stand up. It's time for the guys who got us here to stand up and make sure that we come out of this game without any issues. And even if we lose this game, we still have two shots at it, right? And win the next two games you're in without any questions, right? So that's the thing where you have, and so I don't want to necessarily put in Bogazi in early. You might have to bring him on as a sub to shore up the defense. But I like his passing, right? I wouldn't even be surprised if you put him at left back, and just have him just bomb diagonal balls down that right hand side of Nigeria for Mahal Ngota to pick up. So look, I think, but he's done really well. The other defender who's actually not here is Ime Ocon, who used to play for Supersport last year. He's in Hamburg, in Hanover, sorry, and he got injured before, right? And so you also have, and this is to your previous question, a generation of very good young Bafana prospects, young stars coming through, whereas all the other countries don't have that. Relax come through the system, Ngota's come through the system, Ime Ocon. You've also got the under 17s who went to the World Cup. Some of them are now elsewhere in Europe that are there coming through, like Tyron Apollos, not Oswin Tyron, the guy who's a QPR right now, Tyler Smith, sorry, and Oswin Apollos coming in as a youngster, and so you're in a very good patch right now in South Africa, where you're looking at the golden generation, where this generation is going to be so good for 10 years. When teams come here, it's not a guaranteed win anymore. You're going to fight for you're going to struggle to get points out of South Africa, and when you go away, we don't lose, and that's the most beautiful thing. And last thing, Lalo, we've got 3 games at home to close out the system. To close out the system, right? We need 4 points, right? Whichever way you cut it. Fine, yes, you can even tell me about this whole FIFA thing where they take 3 points away. Then we need 6, right? You've got Zimbabwe next, and you've got Rwanda next.
And we're playing all of those games at home. Mpho, I was going to ask for your prediction, but I think I got it already. We have run out of time. You're saying a draw. You don't mind. It doesn't have to be nice. What do you want? You said a draw in Oboya that no one cares about.
Listen. pragmatically, a draw will get you home.
Sure.
But because our Nigerian friends are talking too much, 1-0 win, Bafana Bafana, champion score, close up at the back. We go to the World Cup.
There you have it, Mpho. Thank you so
Start
much.
booking your
Always a
tickets.
pleasure. Really appreciated. And yeah, hope to chat again soon. Well done. Brilliant. Well, there you have it. That was football analyst, football commentator Mpho Mutloane sharing his insights on what promises to be a blockbuster clash in Bloemfontein later today. South Africa versus Nigeria. Bafana Bafana are, let's say, have one leg into the World Cup, United States, Mexico, and Canada next year. I think it's going to be brilliant, man. I think the last time we were actually in the World Cup was 2010 when we were hosting, and just going through the qualifications, through the traditional route, beating everyone on your group, some of the best on the African continent, i.e. Nigeria, and being able to be one of the representatives of the African continent. I think it will signal a beautiful and well appreciated return of South Africa to world football, and it's going to be a blockbuster of a game later this evening at the Free State Stadium, and you can be sure be giving you all of the reactions for you right here on News and Views. Otherwise, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, News and Views continues.